Alrighty, so now back to this as we getting used to how this whole thing works here on the GCast. So bear with me; it's gonna be a little rough at the beginning, but we'll get to it. Moving on. So with the Indians again, we are with looking at trades, looking at things they're going to do. Winter meetings coming to a close. We'll give you more updates as that goes along. But going back to the division, it's going to be the Indians, I think. Minnesota doesn't look like they're getting much better. Detroit's getting more and more mediocre as the time goes by. Then you look at Kansas City. They're still pretty bad. They're going to be bad for quite some time, probably for a couple of years left. And I know a lot of people said like, well, if you're the Indians, do you want to be Kansas City and be this team that's really not very good? But I would have took that for a World Series championship. So for them, they'll live with it. It's fine. And the White Sox, I think, are still a year, maybe two away from being seriously competitive. So again, I think the division will go to your Cleveland Indians. Moving on to the National Hockey League, Vegas Golden Knights, who of course is another team that I root for. They are on a 4-game Eastern road trip. They won in New York Wednesday night 3-2. Looks like things are starting to get rolling for them. William Karlsson is finally heating up. He scored a goal on Wednesday night. They're in Jersey tonight, taking on the Devils, who are not very good. They made the playoffs last year, but they've been off to a kind of a slow start. This road trip takes them to after Jersey tonight. They will go to New York Sunday afternoon for like a weird 12:30 Eastern game, which is 9:30 for my friends out on the West Coast. It's a national game. It's on NHL Network, and then to Columbus, which will conclude that trip. So tough trip for them. Obviously, really want to see them kind of continue to play well. I do want to see if Malcolm Subban is going to start either a Sunday or on either Sunday or Monday. I kind of feel like Sunday might be the day to do it. Columbus has got a pretty good team, but I think that's something they might want to consider there. I would tend to give him some start. I think you need to see if he can really be your backup. You can't do the same mistake Pittsburgh's done where they've worn Marc-Andre Fleury out. You need him fresh for the postseason. We saw kind of at the end of the season last year in the Stanley Cup final that he got a little worn out. And Vegas is in the middle of the pack. This is not where it was last year where they could kind of run and hide from everybody last year. That's not been the case this year. They have to kind of roll with what they've got. So should be a fun weekend for Vegas and what they've got going on there. As for the Cavaliers, they are playing in action tonight against the Milwaukee Bucks, and they, of course, made that trade last week with the Bucks. And the Wizards as well, where the Cavaliers gave up George Hill to the Bucks. Sam Decker goes to the Wizards. Matthew Dellavedova and John Henson come back to Cleveland, as well as a couple of protected picks. Delly, of course, was fantastic in his home debut for the Cavs on Wednesday night as they beat the New York Knicks. This is going to be a tough game tonight for the Cavs. I don't really think it's going to go particularly well. I don't know if Giannis is going to play. I know he missed the game on Monday night, and the Cavs still got blown out. As a reaction to this trade, I know it's a salary cap thing, but I think Dellavedova is going to be really good for Colin Sexton. He pushed Kyrie Irving, and we know Kyrie really hated Delly towards this whole thing, but he did a good job, I think, of pushing Kyrie to be what Kyrie Irving ended up becoming. And for the Cavs, we all understand the idea here is to tank and to get Colin Sexton more involved. There's a ton of injuries on this team right now. Tristan's going to be out for a couple of weeks, possibly up to a month. Kevin Love, we think, is coming back in January, but we don't really know. Hard to say there when he's really going to show back up here. Looking at other injuries there, Corver's gone. He's been traded away. Nwaba just came back, who's a nice little scrappy player who I actually kind of like for the Cavs, believe it or not. He's one of the guys I kind of like on this team. So I like some Nwaba. I like Larry Nance quite a bit. I thought it was wise to extend him. Clarkson's been very good in this role. I kind of wonder, though, that I think we saw this last year when LeBron was still there, that Jordan Clarkson's one of those guys that's kind of an energy guy that works on a bad team, doesn't necessarily work on a team that can win anything. And I think that's kind of the case with him. So Clarkson, I'm kind of on as it goes forward. But I like what he's brought off the bench. I think Delly's going to extend. I saw the Cavs on Saturday Very impressed with the way Sexton played. He's inconsistent. He's a rookie. You're going to have that. I'd play him 40 minutes a night and just kind of see what happens and develop that as much as you can. Hood's a guy that's been kind of okay. I would be okay with letting him go when this year's up. I don't know if he's going to get flipped necessarily in a trade, but he's a guy that I think that I could probably let go. We'll get though more into the Cavs kind of as we go forward into the basketball season. Not a lot to talk about with them. Go to the Browns real quick before we get to picks. As for your Cleveland Browns, they we could simply say that they have looked pretty good, surprisingly, and they are in the hunt, so to speak. And I put that in quotes because I'm not one that really believes it yet. Now, I'm in the Pittsburgh area, so being a Browns fan here is not exactly something that people really respect. People kind of make fun of it. They think it's a big joke. I mean, people respect the loyalty part of it, but it's at the same time, nobody really thinks that this team is really very good. I happen to think they're pretty good. The future's pretty bright. Baker Mayfield, I was at the game on Sunday. I really love what I saw to him. He does stuff that Browns quarterbacks don't typically do. He throws with touch. He makes the hard throws. He's accurate with the football. And he's got that kind of fearless thing. Now, the question for the Browns is going to be whether or not do they go with Greg Williams into the future. Give me 3 games. We got 3 games to find out. I would say no, because I think the league trends towards offense, and I think that's the smart way to go. If you're the Browns, keep the offensive thing going. Do with what most teams in the league will do. Freddie Kitchens so far is a guy I would like to see come back, but I'm really, again, wanting to see what happens in these final 3 games and kind of where they go with things. Okay, with that being said, though, let's get to what everybody really cares about in the picks. Now, a little bit of a background on why I do this picks thing. I've been looking at lines since I was like 12 years old. And this is not an exaggeration. This is like real life here. Real life behind the curtain type of thing. My dad had a good friend back when I was a kid. He's long since passed away, no names please, who was a reputed mobster kind of a guy in Youngstown, Ohio, where I grew up at. Anybody who knows about Youngstown knows that it's very famous for these kind of guys. So this guy was a reputed mobster. He taught me about betting lines. He taught me how they get made and how to look for them and what to bet and that kind of thing. So this is something I've been interested in for quite some time. So I'm going to go through the games this week. I'm going to use the lines off of William Hill. I'm a Superbook guy by nature. I think they put out the best lines. I think they're pretty fair. I go with the William Hill lines because that is the sportsbook closest to where I am. William Hill has opened a sportsbook down at Mountaineer, which is a place that I do enjoy. I haven't been to it yet, but I will go with their lines because they're the closest local sportsbook. I think they're going to do the one here in Pittsburgh, although I haven't found out totally yet. So I'm going to use the William Hill lines for this. So we'll start with tomorrow night's games, and I'll also give you my 5 that I really like that I would put money on. That's the other part of this that goes into this. We'll start with the first game. It is the Houston Texans coming in with a record of 9-4, taking on the New York Jets coming in with a record of 4-9, 4:30 from MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford. That'll be over on NFL Network. Houston is favored by 6.5 in this one. Houston is in the lead. They snapped their 9-game winning streak was snapped on Sunday as they lost to the Indianapolis Colts. They go on the road. The Jets finally won a game as Sam Darnold came back, and they haven't won a game without Sam. They've been pretty good with him, though, or decent with him, I should say. The defense played okay last week for the Jets. The Houston defense was a little struggle. This is a short week going on the road. I don't think there's a ton of fear here. I think the Jets are very limited offensively, and Houston does one thing very well, and they get after the quarterback. Jets' offensive line is a mess. They can't block anybody at all. I mean, I've saw this from them all year. Darnold, this is the reason he's been hurt. And Darnold likes to make turnovers. And Romeo Crennel's a good, experienced defensive coordinator. He did it to Baker Mayfield, who doesn't commit turnovers like Sam Darnold does. The turnover bug, I think, hurts him. Houston, short week, gets back on track. Give me the Texans and the points. Now to the game that matters to me the most of the week tomorrow night. Cleveland Browns coming to the record of 5-7-1, take on the Denver Broncos coming to the record of 6-7. The Broncos are 8:20 from Broncos Stadium at Mile High, as they've changed the name of that stadium. I don't know how many times since they've opened it. Kind of a generic name. I really don't like it. I didn't like Sports Authority Field at Mile High, though, either. I thought that was a little too long. 8:20, this will be on NFL Network. The Broncos are getting 2.5 here. Browns come off a very nice win at home against Carolina. In a game that, again, Baker was fantastic. They got some good running. They ran some trick plays. Jarvis Landry got involved, made some plays there. Denver coming off a loss that was not very good. And they lost to a San Francisco team who's not very good, and that hurt them. They're not 6-7 after they won 3 in a row. Both teams come in pretty hot. They both won 3 out of their last 4, both in the hunt, so to speak. This isn't eliminated. The loser of this game is done. So whoever wins is technically still in it. So this game has some playoff meaning for it. Denver's been pretty good at home. They're playing in the altitude. They, however, do not have Emmanuel Sanders, who's out for the year. Demaryius Thomas was traded. Peyton Lindsay, though, is a pretty good young running back. Did not run particularly well against San Francisco, but the Browns are not particularly great against the run. Christian McCaffrey kind of tore them up a little bit last week. And Denver has the one thing that the Browns could struggle with is a great pass rush with Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. The Browns are not great in altitude. They haven't won a game against Denver, I believe, since 1990. And that was in Denver. And I don't think they beat them at all there. They beat them in 1993. 1993, the Browns beat the Broncos in Bernie Kosar's last game before he was cut. But they haven't won in Denver since 1990. They haven't won since they've come back. I don't think that changes. I'll take the Broncos in the 2.5. I hate it as a Browns fan, but the Browns have to prove to me that they can win this type of game. I think it'll be a good game. I just don't think that they are quite ready yet to take that quantum leap that they need to do to win on a tough road environment. Denver's sneaky good at home. They need it. Vance Joseph is going to coach this is for his job in this game. He loses this game, he's done. I think they get it done. I'll take the Broncos. Moving on to the Sunday games, and then we start at 1 o'clock with the Miami Dolphins coming in with a record of 7-6 off of that crazy win against New England, taking on the Minnesota Vikings, coming in at 6-1, 1 o'clock from U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. The Vikings, that'll be over on CBS. The Vikings getting 7. Now, Miami, of course, is coming off of one of those crazy emotional things. Now, I would have told you last week, and this is something a lot of sharps agreed on, New England, for whatever reason, doesn't play well in Miami. I don't know if it's because Dexter Morgan's on the sideline. Any of you are Dexter fans would know what I mean by that. But they don't play well down there. I don't know if Tom's a little worried about Giselle or what happens down there, but they've been bad down there. That one doesn't surprise me. The fact that they lost the game like that surprises me, but the fact that Miami had a chance was in that game doesn't surprise me. I thought the line was way too big on that. Minnesota comes in off a loss where they got embarrassed, and embarrassed pretty bad on the road. They fired their offensive coordinator, John DeFilippo, who's a Y-Town guy. I hate to see him get fired. Former Browns offensive coordinator back in 2015. The more you know. With that being said, though, that's a little disappointing there. I look at this game and I see Kirk Cousins, who's been struggling. They're got a new OC, but I think he plays well here. I don't like teams coming off of a high emotion game like they are. I know it's a short week for Minnesota, coming back from Seattle, which is hard. I don't love teams, though, on high emotion in this case, because they usually come out flat. I know Miami needs the game at 7-6. Minnesota does too, but 7 is a big number. I'm going to take Minnesota, although I would not really throw a lot of money on this. And so far, I haven't seen one of these games that I really feel super confident in throwing a ton of money at. I would not throw a ton of money at this. I'll take the Vikings, but I don't love it. but give me the Vikings. And the 7, I don't love it, but again, I don't trust Miami on the road. They're bad on the road. Vikings are decent at home. Kirk Cousins, I think, bounces back. Vikings. Then this game here. Oh, this has a stench to it. Oh, yeah. This one is what I would call one of the BBW Fat Man specials. That is a code for the type of adult film that if you are a fan of 600-Pound Life, you would be a fan of this. The Oakland Raiders, who have no idea where they're playing next year, coming to a record of 3-10, taking on the Cincinnati Bengals, coming in at 5-8, with my old buddy Hugh Jackson at the helm. 1 o'clock, Paul Brown Stadium, over on CBS. Yeah. Oakland comes off of a win against Pittsburgh. Sorry. Cincinnati, of course, coming back off the road after they lost to the Chargers. So both teams going back east. This is an early kick. This game means nothing. Jeff Driscoll starting for the Bengals. AJ Green is done for the Bengals as well. As much as I hate saying Hugh will get a win down in Cincinnati, because I really love the narrative that they can't win a game down there, and this would knock the Browns back to last place, unfortunately, if my predictions hold true. I will take the Bengals simply for the fact that I hate the West Coast to East Coast early kickoff thing, and the Raiders are playing better, even though the Bengals are a dumpster fire. Give me the Bengals. I'm not putting dough on it, but give me the Bengals. Moving on to 1 o'clock, it is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming in with a record of 5-8, taking on the Baltimore Ravens, coming in with a record of 7-6. 1 o'clock from M&T Bank Stadium. That game will be over on Fox. Tampa comes in at 5-8 off of a loss to New Orleans at home. Baltimore coming in at 7-6 off a loss to Kansas City on the road. 7.5 is the number on this. Tampa has actually played slightly better defense since they fired their defensive coordinator. However, this is a good defense Baltimore has. Lamar Jackson is going to be the start. He's going to get the start. Joe Flacco is going to serve as backup for the first time in his entire career. Baltimore is good at home. They have a great defense. Jameis, let's be honest, is a turnover machine here. I expect Baltimore to take the turnover battle to them. I know everyone's going to say, God, you're a square. All you're doing is taking favorites. This is a favorite. Come on. You got to take the favorite here in this one. 7.5. I don't think it's too many. I'm probably not throwing cash, but I'll take the Ratbirds and the points. Moving on to the other 1 o'clock games. The Dallas Cowboys, winners of 5 in a row, coming in at 8-5, take on the Indianapolis Colts, coming in at a record of 7-6. 1 o'clock from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. That game will be over on Fox. Indy getting 3. Now, this is one that Vegas is begging you, and I'm telling you right now, wants you to take the Cowboys because they're hot. They have an emotional win against Philadelphia, the Super Bowl champs at home. What do I tell you people about emotion? Don't go with it. I know they're playing well. Indy's defense is kind of okay, not great. And Dallas plays real defense. They do. They're very good on that side of the ball. I like the young kids they have. However, emotional win here. Dallas is not good off of those kind of things normally. This is the kind of game, again, at home, give me Andrew Luck every time. I've got the home team. I've got the better quarterback. I don't have the better roster, but I have the better quarterback. Both Indianapolis has a bit more of a sense of urgency to win this game than Dallas. Dallas has a pretty good grip on the NFC East. Indy does need the game. They'll take the game. Give me them and the points. Next up. Oh, yeah. Yep. The other BBW Ron Jeremy game of the week. Yeah, girl. As it's the Detroit Lions coming in 5-8, taking on the Buffalo Bills at 4-9. 1 o'clock from New Era Field in Buffalo. It'll be over on Fox. 2.5 for the Bills. Detroit's not been great on the road. They're coming back east off of a road win out west. They're still playing for Matt Patricia. I give them credit. They haven't quit. Coming east, this line has moved towards Buffalo. It started as a pick'em. The line has shifted towards the Bills. I don't trust Detroit in cold weather. This team in Buffalo, not great. Detroit does play real defense, but at the same time, I just don't trust Detroit. The weather's not going to be too terribly cold, but I don't trust them outside in weather that's like not great here. I'll take the Bills in the points. Oh, by the way, as far as Indy goes, that's one take it to the bank. That's one of my big G5s there. Go with the Colts. Go with the Colts. That's an easy one to me. This one I don't think is as easy, but I'll take the Bills and the 2.5. Moving on, Green Bay Packers coming to the record of 5-7-1, taking on the Chicago Bears coming to the record of 9-4. 1 o'clock from Soldier Field in Chicago. That game will be over on Fox. The Bears getting 6 at home. With that being said, Green Bay comes off a win. They're with an interim coach. They're still trying to play hard. I'm not a huge believer in Joe Philbin. I saw what he did in Miami. Not a huge believer. We lost the locker room down there. I don't know what kind of respect he is. Chicago comes off a big Sunday night win. I know there's emotion here, but Matt Nagy's done some really good things. Green Bay doesn't have that opposing of an offense. They should beat Green Bay in the opener at home. Trubisky's only played better. Yes, they do it with smoke and mirrors, but Chicago at home has been very, very good. I think that continues. Give me the Bears in the 6. I don't love what I'm seeing out of Green Bay. Again, this is a team I think that's deeply flawed. They beat Atlanta, who's pretty much quit on their coach. I saw Atlanta in person this year. They're not impressive. Chicago plays real defense. This one, I think, is actually kind of an easy one. I'm going to say this is a G5 also. Give me Chicago in the 6. Also at 1 o'clock, we've got the Tennessee Titans coming to the record of 7-6, taking on the New York Giants, coming into 5-8. 1 o'clock from MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford. That game will be over on CBS. This game has now trended towards pick'em. It opened with the Giants getting 3. It's now pick'em. This one, Odell's out, so this is where the line is fluctuated. Tennessee plays real defense. They're not a great road team. Let me preface it by saying that. They're not great on the road, but they need the game. Mariota has been kind of up and down. They are kind of an odd one. Then they've had the extra time to prepare. They come off a very nice win against Jacksonville where they put the boots to them. They've got extra time to prepare. Giants blew out Washington, but they're a walking corpse. I'm taking Tennessee on the road. This is straight up. I would have took Tennessee even with the points. This to me doesn't seem like a no-brainer, but I'm going to go with it as a G5 game just for the simple fact that I think Tennessee wins the game straight up, and you're getting them straight up at this point. You're getting Tennessee straight up. Take them. Alrighty. Then this one's not quite bad enough because Washington's not done yet. But also 1 o'clock, it is the Washington Redskins coming with a record of 6-7, taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars, coming in with a record of 4-9. 1 o'clock from Everbank Field, or whatever it's called now, TIA Bank Field in Jacksonville. That game will be over on Fox. The Jags are getting 7.5. I think Cody Kessler's starting. I don't know who's starting. I don't know who's starting for, if it's Josh Johnson. I don't know who's playing quarterback in this game, to be honest with you. I don't know that it matters. These teams stink. Washington's about quit, but so is Jacksonville. I don't know if Jay Gruden gets fired for this. It's kind of hard to say. Doug Marrone might get fired. I would not. I still like him. But Coughlin and all of them are bad. 7.5, I think, is too many. I'll take the Redskins only because Jacksonville can't score. They've scored 15 points in their last 2 games. I don't think this is like a 1st-10 game. It's going to be like 10-3. So 7.5, I think, is too many. Give me the Redskins. I don't think it's like an easy bet, but I'll take the Redskins only because I don't think Jacksonville can even score enough points to make it 7.5. I'll take the Redskins. This one, though. Oh, yeah. Here's the other BBW Ron Jeremy adult film special. Arizona Cardinals coming in at 3-10, taking on the Atlanta Falcons at 4-9. 1 o'clock from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in hot Atlanta. Get some Chick-fil-A, but it's Sunday. Oh, yeah. Put some sauce on it. 1 o'clock on Fox. Okay, this is a joke. Atlanta's giving 9.5. I mean, my God, Atlanta's quit. I don't know. Arizona, I think Steve Wilk is getting fired. That's the buzz I'm hearing here. Atlanta, though, has quit on Dan Quinn. Let's be clear here. This is an East Coast or West Coast going to East Coast team. This game doesn't matter. I think Arizona covers. They don't win. I think it's too many. I will take Arizona plus the 9.5. I stay the hell away from this, though, because Josh Rosen is bad, but it's a bad defense against a team that's quit. 9.5, I think it's too many. Give me the Cardinals. Moving on to 4:05, we've got the Seattle Seahawks coming in with a record of 8-5, taking on San Francisco 49ers, coming to the record of 3-10. Short week, 4:05 from Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. That game will be over on Fox. This is the 4:05 witness protection game because everybody will be watching the game of the week, America's game of the week, unless you live in the Bay Area or in Oregon and you've smoked enough weed to care. Okay, I'm not kidding. You don't need to smoke weed to watch this game. Seattle's pretty good. Seattle, though, is getting 3.5 on the road. San Francisco got a good win. They've been decent at home. And Seattle, short week is not great on the road here. And Kyle Shanahan, those guys play hard for them. I do think, though, Seattle's kind of a team on a mission right now. I think Russell Wilson's too good. This is a game I think they can't afford to lose. I think if you have a Garoppolo in this game or something a little bit different, against a team that's not quite as beat up as San Francisco, I might be inclined to take them here. I think Seattle, though, will get it done. I think it's close, but I'll take Seattle 3.5 and move on. All right, moving on to the game of the week. It is the defending AFC champion New England Patriots coming in with a record of 9-4, taking on the defending AFC North champion Pittsburgh Steelers, coming in with a record of 7-5-1, 4:25 from Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. That'll be over on CBS. The Patriots are getting minus 2.5. Roethlisberger's going to play. James Conner, we don't know yet. I don't think it matters. This line's opened up as New England 1.5. It's moved. Also, that Seattle line has moved, which means they're banking on you to take Seattle. They're begging for you to take Seattle. I still would take them. I don't care what the line says there. I'm still going to take them in that regard. Having said that, though, also that Detroit line, that's definitely trended towards Buffalo. With this being said, though, I like New England. This is a G5. I'm sorry it is. All you Pittsburgh fans out there, you know you can't beat them. I don't care if the game's in Heinz. This team's emotional. They're not buttoned up. You think New England, after that loss, is going to come in here and take them lightly? They're going to come in here. I think they're going to put the boots to them a little bit. If Connor doesn't play, they're screwed. They have no chance at all. I don't think they have much of a chance anyway. Pats, they need the game. They'll get the division. Steelers are free falling, and I think it continues. Give me New England. Now for the Sunday night game that doesn't have a lot of luster, but it's the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles at 6-7, taking on Los Angeles, the NFC West champion Los Angeles Rams, coming in with a record of 11-2. 8:20 from the Coliseum in Los Angeles. That game will be over on NBC. 11.5 for the Rams. I don't bet this. This is too big of a spread. The Rams don't play great defense. Carson Wentz is out. I've seen, though, Nick Foles pull some magic out of his hat before. I tend to think this is a little too much. Because the public is basically telling you, they're telling you to take the Rams. They're telling you to take Philly because this keeps going up. I kind of tend to take them. 11.5 is not the number that I'd want here. The number that I see that I would want, if I get this to 13, I'm definitely taking Philly. I'm going to say too many. I'm going to go with the Eagles. Even with Nick Foles, he's proven. Rams defensively are not buttoned up. Goff has not been as sharp recently. The Rams will win the game outright, but I think that's too many points. Then finally, Monday Night Football, it is the NFC South champion New Orleans Saints taking on the Carolina Panthers, who are 6-7 after they lost to the Browns. Saints at 11-2. They come off that win against Tampa. Carolina comes off a loss to my Cleveland Browns. New Orleans favored by 6. And this is a G5 of the week as well. Give me New Orleans. Listen, Carolina, Cam's not right. They, I think, are going to shut down Cam if they lose this game. I don't care that the game is in Charlotte. That doesn't matter to me at all. In prime time, they might go from 6-7 to 6-10. It wouldn't shot, or 6-2 rather to 6-10. That to me is possible. Give me the Saints to get it done. That's my 5 there. So right now, again, to recap it, I like Houston minus 6.5, Denver minus 2.5, Minnesota minus 7, Cincinnati minus 3, Baltimore minus 7.5, and I would rather get this at 7.5. Indy minus 3, that is a G5 of the week. Buffalo minus 2.5. Chicago minus, this is 6. Although if you could get them at 5, get them at 5, but this is 6. I'll still take Chicago. That's a G5 of the week. Tennessee is a pick'em, and it looks like it's pick'em. Although there is a line where I saw Tennessee minus 1. I'll take Tennessee. They're straight up in that one. That's a G5 of the week. I will take the Skins plus 7.5 on the road, but I'd stay away from it. I'll take Arizona plus 9.5. Stay away. Seattle minus 3.5. New England minus 2.5. That's a G5. Philly plus 11.5, but stay away. And New Orleans minus 6 as a G5 as well. We'll see how I did. Big week of NFL football. Get excited for it, and let's enjoy it. And I'll talk to you guys later and let you know how I did. All right. Night, everybody.